Hey guys, welcome back to the Struggleville 2 YouTube channel. Finally back out in the garage because it's got warm outside. It's 40 degrees, so at least it's warm enough to be out in the garage. Anyway, today we need to change the exterior door handle on my 73 Corvette. So I thought let's make a little video doing it. It does involve taking the door panel off, and then I got some other pieces to replace also. But you can see it doesn't spring back up like it's supposed to. Kind of just flops there. And there is a spring, you can see it right there. It's either loose, maybe broken, who knows. But we got a new one because if you get the reproduction ones, they're not terribly expensive. Some parts, if you go with the original, they are incredibly expensive. But it is helpful that I have these other parts so I can kind of show you what's going on. So when you get to the door panel, which we'll get to, you have to take the interior door handle off, and there is a screw that is right there. So you kind of lift up on this handle a little bit, get behind there with the screwdriver, and then this slides. You can see this little edge there. Anyways, that slides on, and then the screw goes on. So you take the screw off and slide it out. You don't necessarily have to take off the inside door panel. You can sneak it out, but make life a little easier just taking it off. You also have to take off the lock knob. If you've never seen how one of these come off before, there's a little clip like this inside there, and you see this groove. It's on both sides, so this will slide in those grooves and it'll sit more or less like that. So there's a splined shaft that goes into the center of this, and that's what this grabs when you turn back and forth. And then there's like a notch ring cut out of that splined shaft. I can stop fat fingering this thing and pick it up. So what you have to do is get between the door panel and the knob and push it back so it releases there. And they make a tool like this, which will make your life a lot easier. If I find one on Amazon, I'll leave a link down below, but I'm sure AutoZone, everybody has them. And this will slide in like so, and then as you push it in, it'll push these tabs back and push that clip off. So we got to do that. Taking a look at the door handle itself, which, by the way, real quick, can we sidebar here? Notice there's no logo on the handle. So this handle is like 20 or 30 bucks by itself, and it's a reproduction, and you have to buy separately your own stickers. So that's the scam, because every single person who buys this is going to have to also buy the stickers because you wouldn't leave it blank, and these things are like $5. Now, you can buy originals of this handle, and the original is like $200. Not even kidding. So I'm no fool. I will buy the reproduction even if it isn't as nice, because that's ridiculous. So here is the new exterior handle, and if we look at it, there are two studs that go through there. That'll be inside the door, and there must be some kind of a rod for the linkage that connects right there. When you push down on the handle, if I can do it one-handed, you can see it kicks that down. So that's what we're going to be looking to disconnect and take off. Also, with the door handles, while you're doing it, make sure you get the rubber seal, gasket, whatever, that goes on the end of it. So I bought all this stuff from Eckler's. They usually have pretty good prices, but their shipping is absolutely ridiculous. They really bend you over on the shipping. So let's get into this thing. So we already mentioned you got to take the door handle off, or it makes it easier anyway, and the lock knob off. You also have to take off the interior pull handle, and it's super fun. There's a hole right there. You can see mine's a Phillips screw. I don't know if it originally was, but it'd make a heck of a lot of sense if it was. There's also a screw here, which is a joy. I don't know if you can just barely see this hole. You're passing through there with a screwdriver and fishing around to find the head of the screw. That's a lot of fun. There's a little screw here that's connected to the door panel. And you have that one on the other side, and then there's a series of like nylon press-in clips that you could probably get some kind of pry tool, get between the door panel and the door, and just work your way around prying them off. None of mine actually hold anything anymore. I don't know if it's something I'm going to replace, or if I get real creative, maybe I can 3D print my own clips. Well, let's start taking this thing off. The bottom screw on this handle is pretty easy. It's the tough one that's a pain. So here's kind of a general idea of the angle at the screw, because you really can't see it when you're fishing around in there with your screwdriver, but it's about what it looks like. Here's these clips I was telling you about that mine don't do anything, so maybe we can come up with another solution for that while we have the door panel off. And here's where we'll be looking at that mechanism and for those two nuts. Alright, so you can kind of see the nuts that we're after. There's one, and there's the other, and then right in the middle there is the linkage. You can see it's coming from the left, going through the right. I'd imagine there's a clip there, unless it's a tight enough fit that it doesn't need anything to hold it. But just guessing, 1/2 inch or 7/16 nuts. I'm going to take those two off. Maybe we'll get enough room that we can lift that up to get the linkage out. I don't know. Never done it before. We're going to find out. That bottom one, you can get a socket on. This one up here, without taking apart some of the mechanisms, it's a bit difficult. You can get an open-end wrench in there, and then when you drop the wrench, you're going to want to take off this little access panel so you can get your arm in there to get the wrench out. But who knew the stud itself would unthread? I didn't see that coming. That's a plot twist. So as far as I can tell, you definitely have to take the connecting rod out that connects to the door handle, which is that rod right there. It's connected to the arm that goes to this mechanism. Now there's a little clip that's going to be fun to get back on, but this is the clip that's on that rod, and it slides in like towards you, and the hole there, the rod goes through, and it comes through on this side. See this little, come on camera, this little tab right here? You kind of have to lift out and then push forward, because that tab is right around that hole, the closest hole there. I don't know if you can tell, but you got to pry outward and push forward, and it'll probably fall in the door, and you'll fish it out, and then eventually we'll figure out how the heck to get the tab back on, or the clip. This might be a better way to look at it. So this is the bottom of the rod and that clip I was just showing you. So this clip goes onto the lever, slides on. You can see how the post is held on there. So you need to push this way so the tab releases that hole, and then push it forward to slide these guys off that post, and then it comes off. And then this end, just like any other kind of linkage you've seen a million times, and it'll just pop right off. So this has to go on the new one, and it looks like we have to reuse the nuts. We want to clean them up because you can't even get your fingers in there, so we want it to thread as easily as possible so we're not screwing around too much. Alright, we got our gasket in place, got our rod back in place. We just got to drop it in the hole in the door, and probably tighten up the nuts first and then hook up the rod last so it's not in the way if it needs to move around a little bit to get those nuts in there. So let's do it. Wow, getting that nut started up there is miserable. Can't get a finger on it, either going through here or putting your whole arm through that hole. Just can't get up there, and I'm not interested in taking out the whole mechanism because that would suck. A couple things I tried that didn't work, but maybe, you know, for other situations or something it would help you. These hose gripper pliers are fantastic for grabbing a nut and holding on to it when you can't actually reach what you're getting to. The only problem was there's not enough swing in here. I couldn't get it started. And then another trick, I was trying to get the wrench up there, and so that like the boxed end on with the nut in the boxed end, and if you put a little grease in between the two, it'll hold it so the nut doesn't fall through the boxed end. Now, what I ended up actually doing was using those hose gripper pliers to just set it on top here, which the other nut had to be loose so it could push up a little, and then I just got lucky enough to twist like this with the screwdriver and get it started. So I'll be here for the next 45 minutes tightening it one little swing at a time. But At least it started, and it's all going to go back together at some point. Alright, got that nut tight. And that nut up there's tight. Made sure the linkage was hooked back up. See it in the background there. Oh! Perfect. I'm not going to put the door panel back on just yet. I want to mess with a few things. But now, while you have it off, is a good time to grease up any of your joints, all the mechanisms. Make sure everything's working while you have the door panel off. So, there it is. If it wasn't for that nut, it's not too bad of a project, but that nut, it's a pain to get to. Thanks for watching. Give the video a like, subscribe for another subscriber. I'll see you guys next time.